here this morning. And to all the media, welcome to NASCAR Xfinity Series Playoffs Media Day. We are going to go ahead and get started today here with Josh Berry. If you have a question for Josh, please raise your hand within the Zoom platform, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can in the time that we have. We're going to ask that you please keep your questions to one, and if we have time, we'll circle back. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Josh, I'm curious, has it been weird for you at all knowing this year, but not knowing you're not going to be back at JRM, know you're not going to be back at Chevrolet over the last few months? Just having to navigate that. It's probably been a position you're not used to being in.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. I don't feel like I don't feel like that anybody's done anything specifically that's hurt our performance. I think obviously everybody's still really hungry to finish the season out strong. And I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, and I've been at Junior Motorsports a long time. So it's really, the emotional ties there make it really important to finish this year on a positive note. So everybody's been working really hard there. Obviously on the background, I've been, doing little things here or there with Stuart Haas, interior seat, stuff like that, but nothing major. And we feel like we're still, really focused in on the last 7 races.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Rob Tiongson. Go ahead, Rob.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks for joining us today, Josh. Josh, I know you're on the verge of getting your first Xfinity Series win, but you've made the playoffs based on consistency and front-running performances. Is there a certain track that you're thinking of that you'll say, all right, this is going to be one of my final wins I can get for JRM?
Yeah, I think, obviously the round of 8 has, historically, at least 2 really good tracks for us, with Vegas and Martinsville. So really, I think our goal going into this first round is just to be solid. We're not in a great position, without a doubt. We don't have a lot of playoff points to fall back on or anything like that. So we just have to be really consistent and really solid this first round, not have any big mistakes. I think if we can run like we've been running, and maintain that, I think that we'll be able to move to the round of 8, and then we're probably going to be in the position where we have to win, and we're prepared for that. Really, our mindset hasn't changed throughout the whole year, right? We've been trying to win. We've been working really hard, trying to get better. It just hasn't come together for us yet, but we still feel like that we have direction, and when we get things going the right way, that we can win.
Thanks, Josh. Best of luck.
All right, we'll go next to John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. So, Josh, one of the teams you're facing up against is Jordan Anderson Racing, a team that still holds you in very high regard for the impact you had back in 2021. As a competitor, what are your thoughts on seeing them make it to the playoffs and the impact that you had on them?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool story. They earned the right to be in the playoffs by winning a race, right? It was by no means any sort of fluke or luck involved in it, right? They won and earned the right. So I know it's a big deal for them, and I'm thankful for the opportunities that I got there a couple of years ago. It was a lot of fun. It was a great experience, and I definitely think a lot of Jordan and a lot of the guys there that work. So, obviously there are competitors in this deal, but I wish them luck, and we'll see what happens.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Josh, thanks for the time today. I feel like to start the season, you guys as an organization just didn't have that same thing that you had last year, the pace, the speed. Was that just kind of the slight rules change, or what was that? And do you feel like you guys now as a company are starting to peak? Because Justin's running up front, you're running up front, Sam's won. Are you guys back to where you were last year?
I don't know if we're quite back to where we were last year, but I definitely think there's been a lot of improvement. Everybody's been working really hard. just trying to get the cars better, faster, right? I think we've seen some weeks where we've had some really, really good speed. I think right now at this point, we're just kind of looking for some consistency. I don't know if I don't know if that's more so us versus our teammates. I'd say it probably is, but nevertheless, we still finished the regular season, fifth in points. So we were pretty solid. But like for me personally, I just feel like we're still really inconsistent. We have speed at the front half of the run, then we fall off, or we have speed in qualifying. It doesn't translate to the race. But in general, the cars are faster, and that's encouraging going into the playoffs for sure. We've had some solid runs. We just have to clean up, really clean up our races in the sense that we just need to make better adjustments. We need to stay more consistent. We need to be just more consistent throughout the race, right? We've seen this big swing where we start off and get better at the end, or we start off a run really good and fall off. We got to clean all that stuff up. That's what we're trying to do. But I've stayed pretty confident that when our car is balanced somewhat close, we have the speed, we have the engines, we have the pace in our cars, we have the pit crews we have a great pit crew, especially on the 8 team that's helped us a lot throughout the year. So we have all the pieces. We just have to put it together.
You mentioned not having those kind of playoff points as a buffer like you did last year. So I'm curious, like, do you feel like, I know you want to win, but do you feel like you have to win to be able to make it all the way to Phoenix? And how do you balance that need to win if you have a chance, but not also take yourself out of the championship too?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary in this first round. I think this first round, you just have to be solid. We see countless times there's just, if for whatever reason the playoffs just bring out this kind of random events and random stuff that happens. We've seen that, in the Cup Series especially. And your playoff points don't they don't guarantee you really anything. I mean, we've seen that. We're going to see that, in this first round of the Cup Series. So, I don't feel like we have to win this first round. We have to be solid. We're not going to be afforded any mistakes. A mistake will probably put us in a must-win scenario pretty quickly. But I think if we just keep doing what we're doing and be solid, get some stage points here and there, and finish where we should, I think we can make it into the round of 8. And then I think at that point, I feel like we're going to be pretty close to being, really in a really tight point scenario or a must win. And I'm prepared for that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Mitchell Brewer. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Josh, NASCAR announced today that they'll be having stage breaks back at the Charlotte Roval. Just curious, from a driver's perspective, how big of a change is that?
I mean, it's definitely gonna break the race up a little differently than what we've seen, and it kind of makes the strategy pretty straightforward, right? I think you'll go there, and the cars that aren't in the playoffs or already locked into the next round, all that will flip the stage, and all the cars that need points will not. So we know what the strategy is there, but aside from the racing, I don't know. I don't really have too big of an opinion of it. I mean, I think that I don't understand why we would have different rules for some races versus other races. I think if we decide that it's not fair to throw the caution at a road course, then why we should probably do the same on the oval. So I understand from a fan aspect of wanting some consistency there. And I think, it's something that I'm sure they're going to keep tweaking and thinking on and working on. But overall, I think, if we're going to throw cautions at the ovals for the stages, we should probably do it at the road courses, because that just makes more sense.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Hey, Josh, with your daughter, is she now old enough to kind of start to have an understanding of what daddy does, and that what's it, because she's a little over over 3.5. Does she have an understanding of what's going on at this point? If so, what is she telling you, or what is she thinking about, when seeing daddy race or things like that, and how's that changed, in the last year maybe?
Yeah, no, she's growing up a lot, and she's been going to the racetrack really ever since she was 6 or 7 months old. Even, she was born in January 2020. So throughout the 2020 season, I was late model racing and going for a national championship throughout that whole year. So she went to the races a lot and kind of grew up there, and she's super aware of it. And she loves going. She loves spending. She gets to spend a lot of time at MRO, and she's developed friendships with other drivers' kids and stuff. So that's all fun to see. But she definitely loves being there, and she's getting old enough now where she can start to see the emotions of racing, right, and the frustration. And she's like, "Daddy, why are you upset?" So it's kind of put things into perspective, I'd say.
And I'm curious. You talk about she's getting to have friendships with other kids of drivers. So I don't know if there are any Xfinity or their Cup drivers, but is it getting to the point now of if you have an issue with a driver, but it's also a friend of your daughter's, just that dynamic or what that dynamic might be like? Obviously, things are always so intertwined in the garage and the driver owner lot type of thing.
Yeah. I don't know that I've really been in that situation yet. That's definitely, I'm sure that's people have dealt with that, I'm sure, before. But yeah, I mean, at the end of their kids, and they're going to have friends, and we drag them all to the racetrack every weekend, and they need to be able to experience that and have friendships there. So I think a lot of us try our best just to separate the two.
And does she ever, or has she ever given you anything to carry inside the car, whether in your pocket or in the car, or things that you've carried in the car before, that kind of have been special for you?
No, I had not yet. There's been some times when she's actually kind of, I would say, accidentally like drew on the car before the race or something like that. So those days were kind of funny, especially if you end up winning or something and they make a die cast like that. But she's had a Sharpie and marked on the number or something, and we're like, oh. But other than that, that's really about it.
And real quickly, where did that happen? And that was one you won, or what? Or just can you tell me more about that story, please?
No, it's happened a few times, I guess, but we didn't win. I remember, I think one of them was the spring Phoenix race last year. Yeah, she got a marker and drew all over the side of the car, and we kind of panicked, and we just didn't worry about it and just let it ride.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, we'll go to Dustin Albino. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, Josh, obviously you achieved a lot with JRM and now you've only got the 7 races left. What do you feel like the emotions will be over the next 2 months?
Uh, I'm still trying to process that. Obviously, it's at this point, I'm trying to enjoy it a little bit across this, right? And not base these last 7 races so much over, not worry so much about, I guess, the last 7 races and how it reflects on the last decade, right? So, no matter what happens this last playoff run, right? Like, I'm extremely, extremely grateful for all the opportunities that I've had at Junior Motorsports, and they changed my life, and Dale changed my life, and Kelly, LW, everybody there that's had an influence on me that took me from, really probably to the point where I wasn't even going to race anything anymore to racing a late model car and having a tremendous amount of success. And we accomplished a lot of amazing things in that car and had a lot of fun. And then even for that to translate into the Xfinity Series and soon to be the Cup Series is not something that I ever really expected out of it. So I think it's probably I don't know how I'm gonna feel throughout the rest of it. Um, we're gonna kind of take it one step at a time, I think. But to me, I feel like it's kind of it's business as usual, right? I think we just keep racing and keep working hard, and obviously we would love to have this storybook ending with wins and competing for a championship. But if that doesn't happen, then we're still gonna be thankful for each other and the time we had and all the things we accomplished over a decade. So for me, we're still moving forward and we're really focused on trying to end this thing strong.
Thank you.
All right, next question will come from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt. Maybe his hand is still up from earlier. All right, we'll go back to Dustin.
Yeah, Josh, can you talk about, since you just referenced it, how close did you not come to racing anymore? You referenced, how it changed you in what when junior motorsports came in the picture, how close were you to doing something else, and what would it have been?
Well, I don't really know exactly what I would have done, but that's kind of where the that whole the storyline of getting building a relationship with Dale and getting the opportunity to go drive his late model car, right? Like that was pretty much Dale, plucking me from just getting to know me through online racing and developing a friendship and giving me an opportunity to test his late model. So, I mean, at that time, I'm racing a legend car at the Nashville Fairgrounds on the quarter mile, and it's just me and my dad, and we don't really have the money to do it much anymore at all. So, without Dale, without certainty, I would have been done racing probably, upwards of 10 years ago. So I don't know what I would have been doing. I guess I never really had to make that decision. I think that's where the story of me being a bank teller was, right? Like, because I had raced, and at the time I actually picked up a job throughout my senior year of high school, and afterwards doing that, just something to do, kind of, and then still raced on the side. So, yeah, I don't really know, but I think when I reflect on all this, obviously that's what I'm saying. I would love to end this in a championship, but we've accomplished some amazing things together no matter what. And these last 7 races aren't going to change that.
Thank you.
All right, Josh, we know you got to get to your next stop. Thank you so much for stopping in here with us and spending some time.
Yep. Thank y'all.